Market Fresh, broadcasting live from San Luis Obispo. Here's your host, Randall White.
5 o'clock sharp here on Crush 92.5 FM. Hey, a beautiful night to hit up the Thursday night downtown San Luis Obispo Farmers Market. The weather forecast for the 6 o'clock start of the market, just 1 hour from now, exactly 1 hour from now, is for clear skies and 71 degrees. Winds are coming out of the west-northwest at 9 miles per hour. 3 hours later, when the market closes, we're looking at a temperature of 60 degrees, and the winds should die down just a bit. So all in all, a very pleasant evening ahead to enjoy all the fresh fruits, vegetables, and artisanal food products the Central Coast has to offer. Plus some very fun entertainment on the side streets. That group known as Something Ridiculous will be there tonight. They're there most markets, but not all of them. They're the ones on big unicycles and stilts. Hey, don't forget, this Saturday morning at the San Luis Obispo Market, held in the Embassy Suites Cost Plus parking lot, you know that one? The longest running one in the county. In fact, one of the 5 oldest markets in all of California. Well, it is celebrating a whopping 35 years this month. So they will continue with their fun demonstrations and even some giveaways as well to local restaurants and such. If you've never checked it out on Saturday mornings, do so. That is my go-to market, and I love it. Save of the Central Coast is just a little more than a month away, and as a San Luis Obispo County or northern Santa Barbara County listener to Market Fresh here on Crush 92.5 FM, I want to give you a heads up on a locals discount. It's a full 15%, but it's only good through the end of this month, so you'll need to act quickly. This discount is for the main event days, both Saturday and Sunday, and also for the Savor Run through downtown San Luis Obispo. Just head to savorcentralcoast.com and then enter the promo code LOCAL, pretty easy to remember, to get the discount. Oh, and by the way, if you happen to be passing through town right now and want to take advantage of this offer, we'll consider you a local for this purpose, since you're now in the know. This portion of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio is brought to you by Eberly Winery in Paso Robles. Eberly is open every single day from 10 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. So if you're listening in North County right now, you still have an hour left to head over to Eberly and take advantage of their complimentary wine tasting and cave tours. You know, Eberly was voted by Wine Spectator as one of the best tours on the Central Coast. You get to check out their catacomb of caves that they built underneath the winery to keep everything at a very constant temperature. And if you're up there in North County right now, you know it's probably rather hot. So if you want to go to an area where the temperature is always a cool, I think they said it's like 56 degrees or something around there. So it keeps the wine at just the right temperature, and it keeps you at just the right temperature as well. Eberly Winery is located on Highway 46 East in Paso Robles. So if you're on the 101, just head toward the Central Valley about 3 miles. It's on your left-hand side heading in that direction. You can log on to eberlywinery.com for more information. That's spelled EBERLE winery.com. So so let me start that all over again. So you are listening to the Market Fresh Hour, part of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, where we really highlight some of the stuff that San Luis Obispo and the rest of the Central Coast has to offer. We have a great show for you up ahead here with, some stuff that really will blow your mind, especially when it comes to the health of soil. It might not seem like a lot, but it really is a big deal how healthy the soil is. And new scientific studies, we'll talk to an editor with Scientific American magazine about exactly how important that is. I am your host, Randall White. More information at eatdrinkexplore.com.
The award-winning Sunset Savor the Central Coast is once again set to highlight San Luis Obispo County this September 26th to the 29th. Many of your favorite events are returning to the lineup, as well as some new ways to play. Don't miss Sunset in the Vineyard on Saturday, September 28th at the Vina Robles Amphitheater. Start the night under a star-filled Paso Robles sky with a food and wine reception. Celebrity chef Michael Voltaggio will be on hand for a special book signing, and Grammy Award-winning Kobe Calais will perform her hit songs. Also new this year is the Savor Run, a 5 and 10K run or walk through downtown San Luis Obispo on Sunday, September 29th. A portion of your entry fee for this event helps rehabilitate local cancer survivors. For these events and more ways to play at this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast, visit savorcentralcoast.com.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
Fabulous.
Live with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Amazing.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Hello, 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 and a very good day, everyone. You've arrived at California's #1 place to talk about current trends regarding the freshest, most local and seasonal food and beverage action. This is the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Market Fresh Hour. And straight ahead on today's program, well, not everybody is into canning. In fact, I've never done it. I'm just worried that I won't get it hot enough, and then there'll be some horrible bacteria in there that kills everyone that tries it. So I just stay away from canning altogether. But straight ahead on the program, we will introduce you to a woman who has a whole list of easy ways to preserve all these fresh summertime fruits and vegetables, which are in massive abundance at our local farmers markets here along California's Central Coast and throughout the rest of the state. I love her tips for freezing fruit and also what to do with all those herbs. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. Then later in the show, we'll welcome a craft brewer from downtown Los Angeles. He's gaining a lot of notoriety for one of his specialty beers, and it is very California in flavor. He uses, or infuses, I guess I should say, California avocados into his latest batch of brew. Now, you're probably familiar with raspberry beers. I've seen a few different blueberry beers. Sometimes even coffee, chocolate get mixed into the batch. I think at the Gilroy Garlic Festival, they have a garlic beer there that is only consumed that one time of year, and that's it. But this guy has an avocado beer, and people are loving it. Apparently, he mixes in some other spices as well, kind of gives it a guacamole flavor. So we'll talk to him about that and exactly how he does it. I don't know. It just seems like avocado would be a difficult one, especially with the fat content. That's what I want to know, how he gets around the fat content, because usually that will just completely eliminate a head on a beer. But apparently he does not have that problem. So we will welcome that brewer to the show coming up in just a little bit. But first up this hour, we're going to get a little scientific on you. In the current issue of Scientific American magazine, there is an article on the health of soil that really got my attention, probably because I had a terrible crop of backyard vegetables this year, and I blame it squarely on my soil mix. It had nothing to do with my watering pattern or anything along those lines, my brown thumb. But according to this article, enriching the farmed ground with bacteria and fungi is being shown as a very effective alternative to pesticide and fertilizer use for crops, commercial crops. And not just for that. You've undoubtedly been hearing the news reports, sometimes right here on the show, about salmonella food poisoning that comes from fresh produce, often grown right here in California. Lettuce, tomatoes have been the culprits in the past. Peppers, I can think cilantro, I know was on the list. Well, as it turns out, enriching the soil with microbes, specific bacteria, can help eliminate that problem. Well, joining us now to help sort out these new findings is Gary Sticks. He's the senior editor with Scientific American magazine, and he's got the lowdown on this fungi issue. Gary, welcome to the program. Great to have you with us here on Market Fresh.
It's nice to be with you.
So, I was looking over the article, and I guess as I understand it, we are only now getting a good grasp on the microbes that are in the soil. In previous decades, we knew they were there, but we just didn't have a way to sort of categorize them, I guess. But that's changed recently. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. The reason for that is that DNA sequencing techniques and other methods of characterizing these microbes has gotten much better. So there's been interest in microbes in the ground, microbes in the gut. It's a huge area of scientific research at this point.
Yeah, I've read a lot of stories regarding the microbes in the gut. We didn't realize how important those were. I used to work for KGO Radio in San Francisco years ago for a woman, Joni Gragans. She had a health show there, and I remember this would have been right around 2001, 2002, and she was constantly talking about probiotics and how you have to have the right mixture of bacteria in your gut. She was way ahead of the curve. So I know about the issue in the gut. I didn't realize that it translates to soil as well. And about how many, did you say 40,000 different types in just a spoonful of soil?
Yeah, it's a huge number. And the issue at hand when you're talking about protecting crops is really achieving the right balance, similar to the idea for probiotics in the soil, so that if you have the proper balance of microbes, bacteria usually, it can be protective against some of the toxic bacteria like Escherichia coli or Salmonella.
And just as the microbes in our gut might protect us against different things, or I saw an article a couple of months back how some of those microbes can help, and this isn't necessarily a good thing, but takes what's the bad fat? Cholesterol. Takes cholesterol and carries it into the blood and kind of sticks it to the side of the walls. But vegetarians and vegans don't have that same microbe in their gut. And so it's the same sort of thing. If you have the right mixture in the soil, and I guess this DNA sequencing is letting us understand what each of the 40,000 or however many it may be, what each of them do, huh?
That's true. The signal case here was a comparison using DNA sequencing between microbes that were on the West Coast and microbes that were on the East Coast. And East Coast had some problems with Salmonella, and the West Coast didn't. And they compared the microbes in both places, and they found that there was an absence of certain type of bacteria in the soil on the East Coast. So the FDA researchers went ahead and created a concoction which they're now testing on tomato plants. And tomato plants, if you recall, were the ones that were at issue with the Salmonella outbreak on the East Coast.
Yeah, interesting. And so it's a East Coast, West Coast thing, but we're helping each other out. It's not a rivalry. It's a helpful sort of thing.
It's all synergistic and symbiotic.
I like that. Well, we're speaking right now with Gary Sticks. He's a senior editor with Scientific American magazine. Specifically, we're talking about the microbes that occur in soil, your fungi, your bacteria, and how they can help with various things, including there is a relationship to genetically modified organisms that you'll want to hear about. That's a very hot topic. And also the use of phosphates in agriculture. You're listening to Market Fresh. We're back in just a moment.
Luna Red Restaurant in downtown San Luis Obispo is the perfect spot for a weekend brunch offered every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Enjoy farm-to-table breakfast plates such as the Ribbit Benedicts, mission steak and eggs, and quinoa waffles topped with fresh market berries. Or opt for a lunch plate such as the grilled Asian-style fish taco salad or the roast chicken bacon avocado sandwich. Lounge on the sunny patio with views of the historical Mission Plaza while savoring our bottomless mimosas offered from 9:30 a.m. to noon. Hang out on Sunday afternoons from 3 to 5 p.m. and catch our live music on the patio during $5 happy hour. Luna Red also accommodates large parties, so call us today to make a reservation. Follow us on Facebook for daily specials and visit our website, lunaredslo.com, to view current seasonal menus, our live music schedule, or check out our happy hour offerings. Luna Red is located at 1023 Choro Street at the corner of Monterey. Come to be fulfilled.
Hey, Central Coast locals, it is time to save 15% on your tickets to this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast main event, Saturday and Sunday, September 28th and 29th. It's easy. Just visit savorcentralcoast.com, enter the promo code LOCAL during checkout, and voila, your savings are complete. This year's theme is Time to Play, so why not play at a discount while learning tips from top celebrity chefs, tasting some of the area's best local wines, as well as farm-to-plate culinary creations. Runners, you too can save an additional $10 on the inaugural Savor Run, a 5 and 10K walk run through downtown San Luis Obispo. Not only do you save money, but a portion of your entry fee also helps local cancer survivors with fitness programs. So do it now, before time runs out. You only have until the end of the month to cash in on these savings. Visit savorcentralcoast.com. Use the promo code LOCAL. See you at the main event. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network's Market Fresh Hour. And right now, we are talking about an article in the current issue of Scientific American magazine about the health of soil. Specifically, the fungi and bacteria that exists in the soil, these microbes that act very much the same way the microbes in your gut help you digest and fight off certain things. We have good bacteria. That's why those, and I remember years ago, this doctor that I knew said those antibacterial lotions that you put on your hand and stuff aren't always good because it kills the good and the bad bacteria. And we're learning more and more now that there is a wealth of good bacteria out there. Gary Stix is the senior editor with Scientific American magazine, and he's on the line with us to help us sort through all of this. And are they now finding that there's an equal balance, Gary, of good and bad bacteria, or does one outweigh the other?
Well, I don't think they've found that yet, and I don't think they're going to find that for a long time, because this is, as we mentioned earlier in the show, this is a very recent and really at the avant-garde of scientific research, and it will be a long time before they sort out the bacteria in the soil, and it'll be a long time before they sort out the bacteria in our gut.
Yeah, and I know that in some cases, like growing strawberries, for instance, fungicides are used to kill fungus in the soil. And I imagine that, I don't know if it's like carpet bombing, if it kills all the fungus, the good and the bad, but these studies are showing that a fungus, certain fungi, can be incredibly beneficial.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the case. And I think with these new methods of understanding how these balances between different types of bacteria exist in the soil, they'll be able to sort out the good and the bad critters. Sometimes a particular bacterium can be good in one circumstance and bad in another.
Yeah. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, are certainly a hot topic nationally, and labeling of such ingredients will be on the ballot this November for Washington state voters. Talk to us a bit about how using bacteria and fungi could affect this realm of agriculture.
Well, I don't know yet whether it's going to affect GMOs directly, but there is one area where it might waylay genetic engineering. As you know, there is a huge amount of a focus on climate change and how drought is emerging in many parts of the world, or very intense storms and others. And one thing that they'd like to do is to get plants that can resist drought. And one way to do that is genetic engineering. But that is not such a great idea if one year you have drought and the next year you have flood. So one solution to that has been to consider a bacterium that can produce a type of sugar that can enhance the survival of the cells in certain types of plants to make them withstand drought. And that's something that's being investigated at this point in Mexico.
Oh, interesting. Because these plants that are drought tolerant really don't do well when there are heavy rains, right? That's part of the...
That's exactly it. So it's really hard to genetically engineer them to be drought tolerant one year and then be able to resist floods the next. So that if you can just put this bacteria onto the plants when they're needed, that would probably be a better solution, and it's a less long-lived solution in the environment.
Yeah. Now, let's talk a little bit about not the pesticides and the fungicides and herbicides and all that sort of thing, but the other end of the spectrum, putting nutrients into the soil in the form of fertilizers. How do the fungi and bacteria interact with fertilizers, specifically phosphates?
Well, plants need a whole set of nutrients like nitrogen and phosphate, and in developing countries, the soil often lacks phosphate, but fertilizers are very expensive. So this line of research is looking at a fungi gel, which is being tested currently in Colombia on cassava, which is a staple crop there, to enable the roots of that plant to uptake a phosphate from the soil. And
this is a naturally occurring phosphate.
promising.
I'm sorry, Gary. This is a naturally occurring phosphate that's in the soil?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is. I mean, it's to enable the phosphate that is in the soil, even if the soil is somewhat deficient, to get a greater uptake using this fungi. So in this case, it would avoid the use of fertilizers.
Wow, that's terrific. It's sort of like along the lines of you absorb more nutrients, like calcium, for instance, when you take calcium and vitamin D together, I think. I'm just pulling one out of that, but it's that sort of thing. Or using oil on a salad, I just read recently, allows you to absorb more of the nutrients from the salad. So this fungi in the soil helps the plant extract the phosphate that's there that might have been hard to access before.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Whereas fertilizers would be something that would be external and applied to the plants, but in many cases it's beyond the reach of many farmers in the developing world.
Because overusing phosphates has another set of problems, right? So if we can get around adding phosphates to the soil and use what's there, even like you said, even if it's deficient soil, that's a better way to go. What are some of the problems if we overuse phosphates?
Well, they can go into soil runoff. They are involved in they get into the water supply, and they can cause
like algae blooms and that sort of thing.
Algae blooms, exactly. That's exactly what can happen.
Yeah, there's a lake in Northern California, Clear Lake, and the name is sort of a misnomer because it's far from clear in the middle of summer. You have these huge algae blooms that take place in the lake. It did not used to be like that, and a lot of it has to do with the septic runoff and such, and agriculture runoff that is there in the valley. But they've been trying to get a handle on it, and maybe something like this, for the agriculture that's there in the area to use. Let's hope that these tests did you say Colombia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's being undertaken in Colombia with the help of some researchers from Switzerland.
Well, a lot of great stuff in this article, and we only skimmed the surface, you might say. Gary Sticks, senior editor with Scientific American Magazine, joining us to talk about microbes in the soil, and hopefully, in addition to our arsenal of things to grow commercial crops, that in addition to pesticides and all those sorts of things, these microbes might be able to help out. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, stick around because just after the break, all of that produce that we're growing using microbes and fungi and the like, it comes at the summertime, but then how do you preserve it without canning it? Well, our next guest, Emma Christensen, has a whole laundry list for us. So get your note paper and pad out because you're going to want to take notes on this next one. You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explorer's Market Fresh. Back in a moment.
Luna Red Restaurant in downtown San Luis Obispo is the perfect spot for a weekend brunch offered every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Enjoy farm-to-table breakfast plates such as the Ribba Benedicts, Mission steak and eggs, and quinoa waffles topped with fresh market berries. Or opt for a lunch plate such as the grilled Asian-style fish taco salad or the roast chicken bacon avocado sandwich. Lounge on the sunny patio with views of the historical Mission Plaza while savoring our bottomless mimosas offered from 9:30 a.m. to noon. Hang out on Sunday afternoons from 3 to 5 p.m. and catch our live music on the patio during $5 happy hour. Luna Red also accommodates large parties, so call us today to make a reservation. Follow us on Facebook for daily specials and visit our website, lunaredslo.com, to view current seasonal menus, our live music schedule, or check out our happy hour offerings. Luna Red is located at 1023 Choro Street at the corner of Monterey. Come to be fulfilled.
seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
Welcome back to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network's Market Fresh Hour. I'm your host, Randall White, now 33 minutes past the hour. This portion of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio brought to you by our friends at Luna Red Restaurant, just off Mission Plaza in downtown San Luis Obispo. If you've ever been to downtown, this is right in the heart, right on the creek. You could not have a better outdoor location. Trust me, because I've been there many times. In fact, 25 years ago, I think I'm doing my math correctly, I worked there, but it wasn't Luna Red then. It was a restaurant called Sebastian's. And I've loved it ever since. It's such a great space. By the way, it's the perfect location to enjoy happy hour in downtown SLO. A $5 happy hour, Sunday through Wednesday, from 3 to 6 p.m. And on Thursdays, it's all day long. And the last time I was there, just a couple of weeks ago, the wine that the House Red they had for happy hour, it's only available during happy hour, and it was fantastic. It was delicious and well worth $5 a glass, let me tell you. Whether you're visiting San Luis Obispo or you call this stretch of the Central Coast your home, Luna Red is a locavor's dream. For more information, head to lunaredslo.com. All right, it is time now to talk about that summertime bounty you may have in your garden, or if you visit one of your local farmers markets. There's more there than you can possibly ever bring home. And in your mind, you're probably thinking, like I think this when I pass the artichokes. I always think, oh, these artichokes, they look so fantastic, and I don't know that I'll be able to get them in midwinter. Of course, we're sort of blessed where we live, so some of this stuff is available year-round, but there are certainly things that taste better this time of year, even if you can get them in the winter, or they just have that special summerness to them, and there are ways to preserve them. Now, I am not a canner. I never have been. I've never done it. My sister makes a really great jam with fresh raspberries, and she uses amaretto in there. It's a raspberry almond jam that's delicious. I've never tried that, but I might stick my neck out that way. But there's a whole laundry list of things that you can do aside from canning to help preserve this bounty. And joining us on the Eat, Drink, Explore live line right now is Emma Christensen, the Bay Area's very own. She is an author and editor. In fact, she's the recipe editor for thekitchen.com, and that's spelled Kitchn, thekitchen.com. It's an online foodie resource that's terrific. Also author of True Brews, How to Craft Fermented Cider, Beer, Wine, Sake, Soda, Mead, Kefir, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and kombucha. You can do it all at home, but we're not drilling her brain on any of that. We are featuring Emma today for her tips on preserving all these fresh summertime fruits and vegetables. Emma, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me. Glad to be here.
You know, I really loved your article. I was looking through it and I was thinking, these are all really simple things that I can do. I don't have to worry about, people passing out at a party because I didn't can correctly.
Exactly, and that's exactly why I wrote this piece. I am also not a canner. I have tried, and I have so many other projects going on. It's just not going to happen. So
right.
I am a fan of other ways of preserving, and two of my favorites, two of the best, are freezing and dehydrating.
Yeah, and one of your freezing techniques is it looks like in the picture that you shared with us that we are sharing on our video simulcast right now at eatdrinkexplore.com, is to take fresh herbs from your garden, put them in olive oil, and then freeze them into cubes. It ends up looking like butter when it's frozen, and I imagine it just tastes fantastic in mid-February when you pull them out.
Yeah, exactly. And you could just plop that into the bottom of a pot and use that as a base for a soup or a sauce or anything that you want to use those herbs for, and it's fantastic. And
do any herbs work well with this? Basil, I know basil can get really kind of black sometimes when you do certain things to it, but across the board, you've tried this with different types of herbs?
Yeah, I mean, any fresh herb is going to work. Some of the woodier herbs tend to work better, like thyme and rosemary. You will get a little bit of that loss of color with basil if you want to use that, but the flavor is still there. It just might not look quite as pretty. And olive oil you've found to be one of the better oils for this? Yeah, you can use any cooking oil that you enjoy cooking with, but olive oil has such a nice flavor that just goes with any herb, and it's great for cooking with. Adds just a really rich, lovely flavor to about anything you want to cook. And do you use an ice cube tray, or what sort of method do you use to get them in these cubes? Yeah, right, just in an empty ice cube tray. Even better is you can find sometimes at places like Whole Foods or any kind of kitchen supply store, sometimes they have these little tiny ice cube trays. They're like half-size ice cubes, and I find that those are even better for preserving herbs because then you don't have to use quite as much at one go. Yeah, I've done the ice cube trick with pesto before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it works great with pesto. I mean, that's basically the same idea, right, except you're using more herb and cheese and all those other delicious pesto ingredients to the oil, whereas you're making oil ice cubes, you're just using more oil and adding in your fresh herbs. What are some of the other freezer-friendly produce items that you like to freeze and the method for doing it? Sure. Honestly, I just love to straight up freeze fruit and vegetables. It's just about as simple as that. Any larger fruits or larger vegetables, just chop them up into little bite-sized pieces, chop up some strawberries into bite-sized peaches. You can chop up into bite-sized pieces. Red peppers are big right now at the markets. Like I said, just chop them right up. And the best way to freeze them is to spread them out in an even layer on a sheet pan. Line the sheet pan with a piece of parchment first, and then lay whatever fruit or vegetable you want to freeze. Just lay it right on top in a single layer. let that freeze until the fruit or vegetable is solid, and then use the parchment to lift up the fruit or vegetable that you've frozen and just transfer it into a freezer container or a freezer bag. And the reason why you want to freeze it flat like that first is that that way they don't clump up together. They don't actually freeze solid to one solid block.
Right.
Basically little pieces of frozen fruits and vegetables. And then you can just, you want half a cup for your morning smoothie, just scoop out a half a cup of frozen strawberries. Or you want a half a cup of peppers for the chili that you're making. Scoop that right out and put it in your pot.
So make sure that these are pre-washed because you're going to be using them right out of the freezer.
Sure, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And do they need to be dry when you put them into the freezer on the parchment?
Yeah, they really should be. I mean, as much as you can. Obviously, if you're cutting them into pieces, the cut sides are going to be a little wet, but just do your best to wash them and then dry them with a clean towel or paper towel, and you can let them air dry for a few minutes. It's not, it's not an exact science. Do the best you can, but as long as they're not dripping wet, they'll be fine. If they do have moisture on them, the only downside is that they'll tend to start getting freezer burn a little sooner.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that. So the drier they are, the less likely they'll get that freezer burn.
Exactly. And also, when you pack it up into your freezer container or freezer bag, if you can press out as much air as possible, that's another way to prevent freezer burn from showing up for a while.
Yeah. So, Emma, we have one of those water carbonators called a Soda Stream at home, and we don't buy the soda syrups that come with it, so you can make your own Coke or whatever. We just use the bubble water, and then we fill the glass like maybe a third of the way with some whole fruit juice from the store. But you have a way of making some fruit syrups, right, that you can mix into some of this bubble water?
Sure. I mean, it's basically what you're doing is taking fresh fruit, whatever fruit just looks awesome and ripe and juicy to you at the market, and making a fresh juice out of it. And the way you do it, if you have a juicer, obviously you can just go ahead and juice those fruits. But if you don't have a juicer, you can just blend up the ripe fruit, wash it first, and then blend it up and strain it through a strainer. You'll get a little bit of sediment that way. So if you're one of those people that hate sediment, just line the strainer with a piece of cheesecloth or a fine mesh, anything a little bit finer than the strainer. Strain it through, and then you have juice. And you can use it just like that, or you can combine it with a simple syrup, which is basically equal parts water and sugar. Bring that to a simmer on the stovetop until the sugar melts. Mix that into the fruit juice, and you basically have the same kind of sweet, syrupy, fruity syrup that you would put into your Soda Stream.
Yeah, that sounds good. You could even maybe use a little honey if you're a honey fan.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, use honey, use brown sugar, any of the sugars that you like to use. I just got some coconut sugar in the mail, and that's really delicious. You can also infuse that fruit with a little bit of with some herbs. So you can make like a strawberry basil soda.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that works best if you're making that simple syrup. Just throw the basil leaves or the mint leaves or whatever herb you want to use. Ginger also is really good. Just throw that into the simple syrup as it's cooling down.
Yeah.
And then combine it with the fruit juice that you've made. And yeah, you get great flavor that way.
Emma, in the minute we have left, I want you to address, I was at the market last Saturday, and one of the tomato vendors had a whole table of tomatoes that were beyond ripe, and so they were selling them for a lot less. And I was thinking, I wish I had a great tomato sauce recipe. I'd buy up a ton of these. You've got one for roasted tomato sauce with garlic that you can then, I guess, freeze or store somehow.
Sure. Yeah, that's fantastic. Tomato sauce is a great way to use up all of those. It's, in my opinion, the way to use up really overripe tomatoes. Roasted tomato sauce is super easy. All you do is cut those tomatoes in half, snip out the stem, just cut it out with a paring knife, put them cut side down on a sheet pan, stick them under the broiler for about 5 to 10 minutes. Keep an eye on them. When the skins get totally black and roasty, take it out, let them cool down a little bit, and then the skins actually come off very easily. Just pinch the top of the tomato, and you'll be able to pull the skins right off. Puree it up in a blender, and
you're good to go.
Like that. Yeah, or you can freeze it, whatever you want to do.
Emma Christensen, author, editor, thekitchen.com. That's KITCHN. Emma, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was fun.
I could talk to Emma forever. We'll have to have her back on again sometime very soon. Stick around. We're talking avocado ale up next.
Luna Red Restaurant in downtown San Luis Obispo is the perfect spot for a weekend brunch offered every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Enjoy farm-to-table breakfast plates such as the Ribba Benedicts, mission steak and eggs, and quinoa waffles topped with fresh market berries. Or opt for a lunch plate such as the grilled Asian-style fish taco salad or the roast chicken bacon avocado sandwich. Lounge on the sunny patio with views of the historical Mission Plaza while savoring our bottomless mimosas offered from 9:30 a.m. to noon. Hang out on Sunday afternoons from 3 to 5 p.m. and catch our live music on the patio during $5 happy hour. Luna Red also accommodates large parties, so call us today to make a reservation. Follow us on Facebook for daily specials and visit our website lunaredslo.com to view current seasonal menus, our live music schedule, or check out our happy hour offerings. Luna Red is located at 1023 Choro Street at the corner of Monterey. Come to be fulfilled.
The award-winning Sunset Savor the Central Coast is once again set to highlight San Luis Obispo County this September 26th to the 29th. Many of your favorite events are returning to the lineup, as well as some new ways to play. Don't miss Sunset in the Vineyard on Saturday, September 28th at the Vina Robles Amphitheater. Start the night under a star-filled pastel sky with a food and wine reception. Celebrity chef Michael Voltaggio will be on hand for a special book signing, and Grammy Award-winning Kobe Calais will perform her hit songs. Also new this year is the Savor Run, a 5 and 10K run or walk through downtown San Luis Obispo on Sunday, September 29th. A portion of your entry fee for this event helps rehabilitate local cancer survivors. For these events and more ways to play at this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast, visit savorcentralcoast.com.
And a very good day, everyone. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Media's Market Fresh Hour. I'm your host, Randall White, and this hour sure has gone by quickly. It's now just 11 minutes until the top of the hour, so we need to get to our next guest quickly. And we head down to Los Angeles for our next guest. He's a brewer who's mixing it up with some ingredients I just never would have considered. Dieter Forstner joins us on the live line right now with Angel City Brewery. You can find more information at angelcitybrewery.com. Dieter's behind a new beer that's grabbing some headlines. It's an avocado ale. Talk about your quintessential California beer. I love it. Dieter, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, right off the top, people are used to the idea of certain food items infused into beer. You know, your raspberries, your holiday spices for the Christmas ales and that sort of thing, even coffee, chocolate. What made you think avocado would make a good pairing?
Well, maybe it's just a hunch, or maybe it's just my love of avocados. I don't know what it was. It just kind of came to me in an idea. I showed up to the brewery early in the morning, and I was still half asleep when the idea came to my head. And just kind of went from there. It evolved from a name, and then from the name, it just kind of like, all right, how am I going to make this happen? So I just kind of started putting the recipe together in my head. And by the end of my brew day, I had a different recipe developed, and I pitched it to one of our owners, expecting him to say, no, you're out of your mind, son. And instead, he's like, yeah, sure.
Let's try it.
So,
yeah, there's more than just avocados, right? You throw in some other ingredients that you typically see mixed in with avocado dishes, like guacamole.
There's crushed red peppers, dried cilantro, a little bit of garlic, and some dried lime peel as well. So it's kind of like a guacamole beer, but it really all the other spices and even the beer itself was designed to really showcase the avocados. That's really what I wanted to do.
And you use real avocados, right? You don't use an avocado extract, because some of these breweries do throw in like a blueberry extract or whatever. You use the real fruit.
No, the real fruit. My grandmother owns a avocado ranch in Valley Center, so we went down there, and me and my 90-year-old grandmother, Lucille Breedlove, we picked 200 pounds of Fuerte avocados.
The Fuerte, yeah.
And brought them back and made beer with them.
That's terrific. So these are family-grown avocados. That doesn't get more the topic of our show than that. Family-grown avocados, real ones that you threw into the mix. Now, my first thought when I heard about the avocado beer, especially if you were using real ones, was the high fat content. And isn't fat sort of an enemy to beer head?
Yeah, it should kill foam and ruin head retention, but this has got a nice, thick, creamy head. It's just beautiful. Either it's tremendous skill or dumb luck. I don't know what it is, but I'll take it, and I'll accept credit for either one. But
right.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it worked out great.
Is there anything special you had to do, or that you did but you didn't know that was, like you said, dumb luck? Like, did you change the length of time it was in the mash tun? Right, that's the name of the when you boil everything.
Well, mash tuns where the process all begins, and actually that's where I added my first edition of avocados. Well, mostly because I wanted to make sure they're all mashed up and mixed in, but that definitely helped me deal with the oil content of the avocados and made it so it wasn't as big of an issue later on in the process.
Yeah, and Fuertes, I can't remember where they are on the spectrum, but certain avocados have higher oil content than others, and some of them have higher water content. So maybe the Fuerte doesn't have as high of oil content.
I think it has. I think it's on the higher end.
Oh,
if I'm mistaken. But I like the flavor of Fuertes. Most people know Haas avocados.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they sell at most grocery stores because they travel very easy. They have a thicker skin and they're easy to transport around.
And they're black, so when they get marks on them, you can't see it. But the green-skinned ones, you can see the marks, so they look like they're damaged, but they're not.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Hass avocado first grown in La Habra Heights down there by you as well. by a Mr. Haas. That's where it got its name. And what's funny is when you go around to the grocery stores, you'll see it spelled Haas. It's totally incorrect. The guy's last name was Hass. Haas, like your rear end. That's how you can remember the pronunciation. So, so now at your brew pub there, Angel City Brewery, do you serve food as well?
We have food trucks that come by, but we're just a tasting room. We have a tasting room, but it's nice having food trucks because then your menu changes up on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And this weekend we're having an avocado festival to celebrate the kickoff of our avocado ale. And with that, we're having a bunch of food trucks come out that are having avocado-themed dishes. There's a place that's making avocado popsicles. There's going to be avocado cupcakes. So it'll be really cool. I mean, we can pick out different food trucks to feature our different beers. And I almost forgot, we're also having a guacamole competition as well, and we're encouraging our attendees of Avocado Fest to bring their best dish of guacamole. And it's not going to be the Angel City staff that judges it, it's the people, which as it should be.
Right, I agree.
If they'll be judging beer, they should be judging guacamole as well.
Dieter, I've been asked to be on a number of different, food judging panels over the years, and I always think to myself, I feel silly sitting up there sometimes. I think this is just so pompous because it's everybody's individual taste. And so, they always, at some of these competitions, they'll issue the Judges Award and then they issue the People's Award. And in my opinion, the People's Award is always, that's the one that if you're the chef or the bartender or whatever's being judged, that's the one I would hold up and say, I got the People's Choice Award. That's the numero uno in my book. So I imagine this beer, have you paired this beer with certain things on your own?
The only thing I've really paired it with recently is just avocado. I still have a few avocados laying around the brewery. So I like eating avocados straight up, and so I'll just slice off a couple of slices, garnish my glass, take a couple bites, and sip on some avocado ale, and it's just perfect.
I'd like to pair it with a glass right about now. Dieter Forstner with Angel City Brewery. My in-laws live in Pico Rivera. They've got 20 Fuerte avocado trees on their property. I might have to make up a batch myself. Thank you, sir, for joining us. I very much appreciate it.
My pleasure. You have a great day.
Everyone, you can check it out at angelcitybrewery.com. All right, we've rounded out another hour of the show here. I am your host, Randall White. All of the information contained in today's show can be found online at eatdrinkexplore.com. Just go to our program summaries. It's right there for you. All right, make it a great day, everyone. We'll catch you right here very soon.